guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Priscilla. If you're new here, I am a New York-based flight attendant working with a major US airline company. And on this channel, I share my experience being a flight attendant, all things flight attendant, essentially. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and like this video. Don't forget also to share your thoughts in the comment section below. I get this question a lot, where people ask me about becoming flight attendants, but they live internationally. That is, they don't live in the US, or how they can become flight attendants while living outside of the US. So in today's video, I will be answering that question. I do have my screen down here with information just in case I look down. So what you can expect from today's video, first of all, is that I will be talking about 3 major airlines that do hire internationally, that is across the world, okay? Any country, wherever it is that you are, they will come find you. Secondly, I will talk about some few questions, or answer some few questions with regards to becoming a cabin crew member with these airline companies that people typically have. And then thirdly, I will go to the website of these companies. I will leave the links to those websites in the description box below, the hire link, and talk about, based on the website, what they look for when they're hiring their cabin crew members. Bear in mind that before you decide to become a flight attendant, please do your research. This video, as much as it can be the end all be all for you, ultimately you have to do your own research to make sure that you're crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's, because at the end of the day, you will be saddled with the results of your decision if you decide to go with airline A as compared to airline B or C. So it's ultimately your decision. All I can do is to share my opinion based on the information that I find. The airlines that I will be talking about today that I personally know that hire internationally, that is essentially they are based in one country, but they hire out of other countries as well as their country. So like my airline, for example, is based in the United States of America. They have bases in the country in different states. However, they do not hire internationally unless you meet certain requirements, right? Like right now, I live internationally. I live in Ghana, but I'm still able to work with them because I have the ability to still work in the US. I have either a permanent residence or green card, or I have a US passport, or I am an American citizen. But with these airlines, you don't necessarily have to be a citizen of the country where the airline is based. You just have to be able to meet the visa requirements, which means they're able to go through the process to get you your visa and to set you up to be able to work in that country. These airlines, number 1 is Emirates, 2 is Qatar Airways, 3 is Etihad, okay? Those are the 3 major airlines that I will be talking about in this video. For now, I am focusing on these airlines because at one point or the other, I wanted to work with one of them or 2 of them. And then secondly, I know them for sure hiring internationally outside of their home country. So the first question I would like to talk about is being required to live at base. This is very, very important, especially depending on what your needs are. Personally, for me, I did not want an airline company that required me to live at base because I did not want to live at base. I did not want that restriction. That was the major point of me working in the industry, the flexibility. Okay, beyond having flexibility with my schedule, I wanted to be able to live anywhere in the world and do this job. So that's why I went with the airline that I went with. With regards to Emirates, you are required to live at base. And with Qatar Airways, you are required to live at base as well. Etihad airline also, you're required to live at base. My airline, currently, I am not required to live at base, although it is suggested, highly suggested, because honestly, it is in your best interest at the end of the day. It's easier. I've lived at base before and it was so easy. I could work anyhow, how much I wanted. The next thing is accommodation. So the good thing about these airlines is that I know when you heard you're required to live at base, you're probably thinking that you didn't have to find accommodation there. You have to pay for your move, among other things. The good thing about these 3 airlines, which is Emirates, Emirates, Qatar, and Etihad is that they do provide accommodation. It might be a shared living space with one other person, but they do provide accommodation, which is pretty good. And it's provided to you throughout your employment with them. Trust me, living in the US, even though I was living at base, I had to pay my own rent. I had to pay for my own accommodation. And that alone takes up at least, sometimes, depending on what your income is, 60% of your income. So if you work with an airline company that's paying for your accommodation, although you are restricted to live in that country, if you live at base with Emirates, you have to live at Dubai. With Qatar, you have to live at Qatar. And with Etihad, you have to live at Abu Dhabi, I believe. You have to live in those countries or those cities. However, they pay for your accommodation. So for me personally, I think it's a good trade-off, right? The other thing that Emirates does, I don't know if the other airlines do that. Let me know in the comment section if you work with Qatar or Etihad, is that they do provide you with housing allowances as well. That is, if you don't want to live in the residence that they do provide, I believe you can opt out of it, depending on what the conditions or the requirements for opting out will be. They do offer that, and then based on whatever the requirements are, you can also qualify for housing allowance as well. So that's a pretty good deal if you ask me. The third thing that I do want to talk about is income. The income provided by these three airlines, which is Emirates, Qatar, and Etihad, are tax-free. I live in the US. Even if I make $50,000 a year, right, as a new hire, I do have to pay taxes. But if you work with these airlines like Etihad, Emirates, and Qatar, your income is tax-free. So whatever you make is tax-free. And trust me, these taxes hit really hard, depending on the state you're in or the country you're in. The fourth point is whether they hire internationally. They do. Emirates has been hiring internationally for years. Qatar, the same thing. Etihad, the same thing. They have, and this even ties into their workforce. Because they hire internationally, they're more likely or more susceptible to have a very diverse workforce. So if you're looking for diversity, or if diversity is key for you, then this is something to consider, because they're hiring literally everywhere in the world, from Europe to Africa to Asia to the Middle East. As long as you meet their requirements, where you live or where you're coming from is not a hindrance at all. Do you have to attend flight attendant training school to be able to work with Emirates, Qatar, or Etihad? The answer is no. I have heard that with some airline companies, you should have attended flight attendant training school before you come work for them. But with these airlines and my airline, you do not have to. The reason being that, which makes sense to me, is that no matter, even though the training or even the aircrafts that we use are similar compared to all the airlines, but typically the training is similar, but certain words that are said, certain actions or certain protocols might differ a little bit, but the whole process or the program is almost the same. That's why there is a possibility where you might be required to attend flight attendant training school before you apply for the job. However, to a large extent, these flight attendant trainings are customized to the airline. So based on the airline you go for, certain training materials or training processes might differ from another airline. So it doesn't make sense for you to attend a flight attendant training school before you attend that airline, because they would train you as well. You would go through rigorous training with these airlines. If you do want to go through that process, just so you know what to expect when you do the job, so you know whether you should go ahead and apply and commit to it or not, I get it. But you can get that information on my YouTube channel. You can get it online. Like, you don't necessarily have to go to flight attendant training school just to get that information. And if you think going to flight attendant training school will give you an advantage, with my airline, it doesn't. With other airlines, I'm sure if they don't require it, then it doesn't as well. I am going to leave the link of these websites, the airlines, in the description box below, so you can check them out. So when you do go to Emirates website, when it comes to the cabin crew position, what they are looking for is somebody who is fluent in written and spoken English. If you do speak additional languages, that is an advantage as well. They want a natural team player with personality that shines, somebody who's able to work with a team. So with Emirates, for example, they do require you to be of a certain height, which is at least 160 centimeters, and you should be able to reach 212 centimeters high. With my airline, I did not see that requirement. The other thing that you should be able to meet is that you should be able to meet the UAE's employment visa requirements, which means there are requirements. As long as you're able to satisfy those requirements, you shouldn't have a problem with becoming a member of this airline. And you should be at least 21 years of age. The other thing also is you should have at least 1 year of hospitality and customer service experience. This job is customer service based, so it makes sense. Another minimum requirement is high school education as well. Initially in the past, you had to have a college degree to be able to work as a flight attendant or cabin crew member, but now you don't necessarily have to. You should not have any visible tattoos while you are in the Emirates cabin crew uniform. This also applies to my airline. This is something that you should do, especially if you're looking to become a cabin crew member or a flight attendant. You always have to consistently check the website. Set up job notifications, so whenever the job posting happens, you get a notification, or set on your calendar to constantly check the sites if you mean to get the job or to apply for it. But on the website, they do talk about recruitment events. So they do have an open day event, which I'm assuming will be similar to our event day as well. However, it does say that walk into any of our open day events happening all over the world. You don't have to submit an application before you attend. Candidates are advised to read the requirements and arrive at the open day event venue by the starting time to register. And they have several. There's some in Portugal, the United Kingdom, there's Australia, there's Austria, Czech Republic, there's Germany, Slovakia. Okay, so they do have some that are not by invitation only, and they do have some that are by invitation only. So Malaysia, Morocco, Tunisia, so the African countries, and I think some Middle Eastern countries, you are required to attend by invitation only, like Japan as well. So I guess it depends essentially. So you just have to go to the website and check, which is pretty good. So as you can see, they're hiring literally all over the world. On the same website, they do talk about what the dress code is or the expectation in terms of your appearance when you do attend these open days. So just scroll through, and please, I've said this in my videos several times, when you attend these hiring events or any interview, whether online or in person, please follow the dress code. I know everybody is uniquely different. You want to be independent and stand out, but please follow the dress code. They're there for a reason. If you can't follow instructions when it comes to dress code, what makes you think you can follow instructions when it comes to the job, okay? No, there are protocols in this job that needs to be followed. If you can't follow simple dress code instructions, what makes you think you can follow dress code when it comes to your uniform? Because this is a uniform job. Like the military and the firefighters, we wear uniforms too. So keep that in mind. But they do talk about dress code, hair, face, attire, shoe, and everything. So they're telling you what they want to see. So what is wrong with you giving them what they want to see? And they also go through and explain the training process with you. And this is why a lot of us who are in this industry are able to share information about our job online, is because the airlines are typically very open about what the expectations are about this job of being a flight attendant, of being a cabin crew member. When you check on the website, they take you through the training process, what to expect as well, so you are not caught off guard. Part of the training is that it's an induction experience. You go through safety and emergency. There's group medical training. There is security training. There's the hospitality experience, Emirates hospitality experience. There's a uniform learning experience, how to wear the uniform. They train you on how to wear the uniform, okay? There's service learning experience. So as you can see, they do indicate the duration of these trainings. Some are 2 days, some are 1 day, some are 14 days, some are 5 days. So you have an idea of how long training will be and how intense it will be. I feel like this is a pretty good website. This is a pretty wholesome website where it gives you the details and all the information you need while you're going through the hiring process, or before you even start going through the hiring process, all the way to training. But at least you know what to expect, so you know what you will be doing, so you're not surprised by anything at all. Emirates, you've done a good job. I like how informative the website is. So with regards to the benefits, when it comes to Emirates, so the basic salary is 4,980 AED per month, and they do talk about the average hours that you will be expected to work. On an average, it's about 80 to 100 hours a month, and the average monthly earnings, this essentially, I think it depends on the class that you work. So depending on which class you're working in with their airline, I think you get a higher pay, right? But averagely, they expect you to make about 11,244 per month, which is equivalent to $3,061 US a month. But bear in mind, accommodation is covered, okay? Transportation to and from work is covered as well. If I don't have to pay rent and I'm making over $3,000, that's not a bad deal at all. They do have concession travel, which is, I believe, is similar to flying standby, among other things. And then they talk about accommodation as well. It's furnished and it's provided free of charge. It includes utilities, water, and electricity. That's awesome, guys. So, and I believe it's a shared residence. So it's about 2 to 3 people sharing a room. You each have your own bedroom. You just have to share the kitchen and the living space. That's not bad at all. And then There's leave and leave travel. Yes. So with Emirates, because I think you're required to live at base, they do give you 30 days out of the year to be able to travel home or to travel wherever it is that you want to travel. So that's not bad. That's a 30-day leave of absence every year. Okay, to your home country. However, after you've worked there for 3 years, you can change this ticket to any country in the world, which means this ticket is probably free and it's guaranteed. That's pretty good. We don't have that. You have to fly standby unless you do a jump seat or whatever. You do get medical insurance as well, and I believe it's 24 hours worldwide international insurance, which is really, really good because the insurance that I get from my airline is not international. Unless I'm on duty and they have insurance for us when we're working, and that's international. But with regards to our insurance, I believe it's not international. Yeah, it's not international. So that's really, really good when it comes to the benefits. So there's career progression with Emirates, among other things. So essentially you move from working in economy class, then you go to business class, then first class, then you become a cabin supervisor before you can become a purser. So that's a career growth opportunity for you as well, especially if you want to do this long term. And I believe just like any other airline, the longer you stay with the airline, the more you make money. So it is what it is, the more the better. And there are some frequently asked questions as well that you can get answers to, and then you can just go ahead and apply. Let's see if there are any job openings currently. I know they are having open days, so I'm assuming that there is. All right, moving on, let's talk about Qatar Airways. So when you go to their website, whether these airlines are hiring or not, their websites are always there that you can always refer to and check them out. Don't wait until the very last minute when you're going through the hiring process before you check out the website to see what their requirements are. You might as well know what the job wants, okay, before you go in. When we go to Qatar Airways, obviously they are based in Doha, so that's the city that you will be living in. If you're required to live at base, that's where you will be living in. They do pay for accommodations, like I said, and they do fly to over 170 destinations. That's a lot of countries to visit. To work with Qatar Airways, the essential qualifications they're looking for cabin crew members is that you should be at least 21 years of age, which cuts across with my airline, Emirates, and then with them, like Emirates, you should be able to reach 212 centimeters. They did not talk about how tall you should be, but they said you should be able to arm reach 212 centimeters. You also need a high school certificate. You should, likewise, like my airline and Emirates, you should be fluent in English, which is written and spoken. You should have excellent health and fitness as well. That wasn't a requirement with Emirates and my airline as well, but they stated there, which means you should be physique-wise, you should be great. You see how tricky they are with their wording? But you should have the ability also to relocate to Doha, Qatar. Emirates did not necessarily state that. I didn't see it. But if you're required to live at base, then I'm assuming that you are required to live in Dubai as well. Exceptional interpersonal skills, passion for service, and ability to work as part of a multicultural team. Once again, if you like diversity, this is good for you as well. They talk about how you should apply. Essentially, to apply, all you have to do is to submit an application online to the nearest vacancy to your current location. So getting ready for recruitment day, here's what they expect you to bring. They talk about your CV, your ID, passport size photo, a copy of an invitation, which means before you can attend their recruitment day, you have to have an invitation. So after you submit your application online, I think if they want to move forward with you, then they'll give you an invitation to a recruitment day. How they want you to dress, formal attire that cuts across all the other airlines. Some of the benefits of working with Qatar Airlines is fully furnished accommodation in Doha, Qatar. They did not state if it's going to be a shared resident or not, but Emirates said it's shared. So it might be 2 or 3 people sharing this space. You get international medical insurance plan, which is awesome, guys. Like, that's a great perk. I'm not kidding you. It's a great perk. The other thing is company transportation while you're on duty. You do get discounted travel benefits for self, friends, and family. And then there's retail, dining, and lifestyle discounts worldwide. I do get that with my airline as well. We do get the travel benefits. And you do get transportation while you're on duty. That is from hotel to airport. But you getting yourself to work, you are responsible for that. When you're starting your shift and you getting yourself back home at the end of the trip is your responsibility. Anything in between while you're on duty is covered by the company as well. And essentially be part of a culturally diverse community or team. That's definitely a perk if that's important to you. All right, so being a cabin crew member at Etihad, you have to be at a minimum 21 years of age as well at the time of application. Minimum height is 160 centimeters. So they don't have an arm reach requirement, but they have a height requirement, which is 160 centimeters. Able to inspire guests through innovative hospitality, fluent in English, written and spoken, high school graduate as well, grade 12 or equivalent. Also, no visible tattoos while in Etihad uniform. With this job, image is very important, so they're very particular and very picky when it comes to showing tattoos and marks and stuff. It's different if it's a birthmark or a scar, like I have this. Cosmetic or bandage coverings are not permitted. Comfortable with irregular hours and working on a roster, so that's very important. And as much as we have flexibility, we do have schedules as well. So it's just that the schedule you're ultimately able to work around your schedule, but you have to be on a schedule. So it is what it is. And irregular hours, sometimes you're working in the morning, sometimes you're working overnight. It's just so much uncertainty when it comes to that. You have to be positive, confident, flexible, and a friendly attitude, passion for travel, people, and new experiences, adaptable to diverse teams, cultures, and fast-paced changing environments, strong sense of personal style, presentation, and professionalism, committed to onboard safety and following all procedures. Yeah, that's about right. It's similar to all the other two, which is Qatar and Emirates. Moving on to the recruitment process, the step one of the whole process is the application review. So essentially, once you submit your application, the talent acquisition team will carefully review your profile. If your experience and potential align with what they're looking for, you will receive an invitation to complete a short video interview. Then there is a step two, which is the assessment day. If you're shortlisted, you will be invited to the assessment day, either virtually or in person, depending on your location. At this stage, what they will be looking for is height and visible tattoo check, one-on-one conversation about your experience and motivations, a group exercise or role play activity to demonstrate your customer service mindset, teamwork, and communication skills, final interview with our recruitment team, an English language proficiency test. Then the final is the final review and outcome. Following your final interview, we will carefully review your performance across all stages of the assessment process. Our team will be in touch as soon as possible with an update. Moving on to the benefits when it comes to and training when it comes to Etihad. On their website, all they talk about is a 3-year renewable contract. I don't know if that implies that when you're hired, you're given a 3-year contract at a time. Maybe that's what that means. It does talk about tax-free salary and travel expenses, so that's great. There's accommodation as well. And then with regards to training, the focus is on hospitality, customer service, safety, emergency procedures, and aviation security knowledge as well. It cuts across with some of the requirements when it comes to these airlines, but basically, you know, they do hire internationally. Once again, before you go ahead to apply, do your research, check their websites before you proceed to apply. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye-bye.